Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about men. And I'm talking straight from the heart, Steve Harvey style. Men and their egos, oh, they go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly. But here's the twist. Sometimes hurting a man's ego, just a little bit, mind you, can make him love you more fiercely than ever. When it comes to relationships, especially those involving men, respect is one of the most powerful forces you can wield. But respect isn't just about being polite or nice all the time. True respect is about being real and authentic. And sometimes that means challenging a man's ego in a way that shows you won't just roll over or accept anything less than you deserve. Men have egos. They do. That's just part of who they are. But here's the catch. A man's ego isn't just fragile because it's weak. It's sensitive because it's tied to how he sees himself as a provider, protector, and partner. When you respect a man by challenging him, you're actually helping him grow and encouraging him to be his best self. Think about it. If a woman always agrees with everything a man says or does without question, eventually he gets comfortable, too comfortable. That comfort zone becomes a place where his ego gets lazy and his love can become routine or even take a back seat. It's like a garden that's never challenged with change. It starts to wither. But when you respectfully challenge him, when you push back on his ideas or decisions in a way that makes him think, that's where the magic happens. That challenge tells him you respect yourself and expect the same from him. It tells him you believe he can rise to the occasion and be better than he is right now. This isn't about putting a man down or making him feel small. No, it's about standing your ground and communicating your needs clearly. It's about setting boundaries that say, I respect you, but I also respect myself. When you do this, you're sending a powerful message that his ego will actually feed on. Because men want to feel like champions in your eyes. If you show him you won't settle for less, he's motivated to step up, not back down. That challenge ignites his pride and his desire to win your love every day. Men are wired to want to protect what they value, and respect is the gateway to that. When you show a man that you respect him, even as you hold him accountable, you're saying, I believe in you, but I'm not afraid to speak up if you miss the mark. And that kind of respect deepens his emotional investment. He wants to earn your respect because when he does, it boosts his ego in the healthiest way possible through achievement and growth, not through empty flattery. You see, respect and ego don't have to be enemies. They can be allies in building a strong relationship. When a man feels respected but also challenged, he experiences a powerful boost to his confidence and self-worth. He knows he's with someone who sees his potential and won't let him settle for less than he can be. That kind of dynamic creates a relationship where both partners grow, both feel valued, and love is continually renewed through mutual understanding. On the flip side, when respect is absent, a man's ego can either deflate or turn toxic. If a woman disrespects or belittles him, his ego takes a hit, and instead of loving more deeply, he may pull away, become defensive, or even act out in anger. Or, if he's never challenged and is just taken for granted, his ego can grow complacent and lazy, and his love might lose its spark. So respect, combined with healthy challenge, is a sweet spot that keeps a man emotionally engaged and invested. Another key thing about respect and ego is communication. When you challenge a man, it has to be done thoughtfully. No screaming, no insults, no passive-aggressive digs. It's about honest, clear communication where you say what you mean without tearing down the other person. For example, instead of saying, you never listen to me, you can say, I feel unheard when we talk and I need you to really listen. This kind of approach respects both your feelings and his ego, giving him space to respond positively rather than shutting down. Respecting a man's ego also means appreciating his strengths while recognizing his flaws. Nobody's perfect. When you accept that a man will make mistakes but still expect him to learn and improve, you show respect for his humanity and his potential. This balance keeps the relationship real and grounded, not idealized or superficial. It's important to remember that this respect doesn't just happen naturally. It's something you cultivate. You have to be confident in yourself and your value to express it genuinely. If you don't respect yourself, it's hard to demand respect from others. So, working on your self-worth and boundaries becomes the foundation for respecting a man's ego in a way that leads to love. In many ways, respect and challenging a man's ego is like a dance. It's not about winning or losing, it's about moving together in rhythm. When done right, that dance builds trust, admiration, and a deeper connection. And that connection is what makes a man love you madly. Not because you hurt his ego in a cruel way, but because you engage with it honestly, respectfully, and courageously. So if you want a man to love you with all his heart, start by respecting him enough to challenge his ego when necessary. Stand tall, speak your truth, and watch how his love grows stronger as a result. Because respect isn't just about being nice, it's about being real, and men love that more than anything. A man's love grows strongest when he feels needed, but not in a way that sacrifices your independence or self-worth. There's a delicate balance here. Being needed means he knows you value him and rely on him, which makes him feel important and fulfilled in the relationship. But if you become too dependent or lose your sense of self, it can actually push him away, because no one wants to feel like they're carrying the whole weight of the relationship alone. The secret is to let him know you need him, but at the same time you have your own life, your own dreams, and your own standards that you won't compromise. Men are wired to provide and protect. When they sense they are needed, it triggers something deep inside them, a primal instinct to rise up and take care of what matters. But this feeling of being needed works best when it's paired with respect and admiration for your independence. If you show a man that you're capable of handling your own life but choose to have him in it because you truly value him, that makes him feel special and powerful. It tells him that your relationship is a choice, not a necessity born out of weakness or desperation. Imagine a woman who depends on her man for everything, emotionally, financially, socially. Over time, this kind of need can feel overwhelming and suffocating to a man. He may start to feel trapped or like he has to carry the entire burden. That can cause stress, resentment, or withdrawal. But a woman who maintains her independence, who has goals, hobbies, friendships, and self-respect, shows a man that she values herself and her life. But she also lets him know, I want you in my life because you add something special, not because I can't do it without you. She's creating a healthy dynamic that encourages love to flourish. Being needed isn't about clinging or controlling, it's about connection. It's saying, I trust you, I believe in you, and I want you to be part of my journey. That makes a man feel needed in a positive, empowering way. It also makes him more motivated to step up and be a partner who contributes equally rather than feeling like he's the sole provider or protector. When a man feels he's contributing to a strong, confident woman's life, his love deepens because it's no longer about just surviving together, but thriving together. The balance between being needed and being independent is also crucial for maintaining attraction over time. If a woman loses her independence and becomes overly reliant, the relationship can become one-dimensional and stagnant. The man might start to lose attraction not because he loves her any less, but because the dynamic shifts from mutual admiration to caretaking. When a woman preserves her independence, she stays interesting, mysterious, and vibrant. That keeps the man's attention and desire alive. He wants to be with someone who challenges him, inspires him, and brings her own unique energy to the relationship. Part of being needed in the right way is also about emotional strength. Men often feel pressure to be the strong ones, the problem solvers, the steady rocks. When a woman is emotionally strong and secure, she gives him permission to be vulnerable without feeling like she needs to rescue him all the time. That emotional balance allows love to grow deeply because both partners feel safe to be their authentic selves. Another important aspect is how communication plays into this balance. Letting a man know you need him means being honest about your feelings and asking for support when you genuinely need it. But it also means encouraging him to express his needs and feelings without fear of judgment. When both partners feel needed and valued in this healthy, balanced way, the love between them grows stronger and more resilient. You also need to guard against confusing codependency with being needed. Codependency is when one person loses their identity and self-worth by trying to please or control the other. Being needed, however, is about mutual respect and support where both people maintain their individuality and come together as equals. Men are attracted to women who know who they are and are confident in that identity, but who also recognize and appreciate the man's role in their life. Being needed in a balanced way means a woman shows appreciation for her partner's efforts. Everyone wants to feel appreciated. And a man's ego thrives on knowing he's valued. When you recognize his contributions, whether it's emotional support, acts of kindness, or practical help, you reinforce his desire to be the man you need. But the appreciation should never come from a place of desperation or obligation. It should be genuine, coming from a place of strength and gratitude. In relationships where this balance exists, the man's love often reaches new heights. He feels proud to be part of a partnership where both people bring their strengths and support each other's growth. He loves a woman who stands her ground but opens her heart. He loves a woman who values herself and values him, not because she needs him to survive, but because she chooses him to share her life with. When a woman walks this line well, her love is like a beacon that pulls a man in closer. He sees her independence as a challenge, but also as an invitation to be part of something bigger, a partnership where both people thrive. And in that space, love isn't just an emotion, it's a force that drives both partners to be better, to grow, and to support each other unconditionally. So, if you want a man to love you madly, show him that you need him in the right way, but never lose yourself in the process. Be strong, be independent, and be clear that your love and need for him come from a place of power, not weakness. That's the kind of woman every man wants by his side and the kind of love that lasts a lifetime. A man's ego is one of the most powerful drivers behind his motivation in a relationship. It's not just about pride or stubbornness. His ego is tied deeply to how he perceives his role as a man, whether he's a provider, a protector, a leader, or a partner. When his ego is engaged positively, it can inspire him to put in the work, to be the best version of himself, and to love fiercely and passionately. But if that ego is ignored, crushed, or underestimated, the motivation behind his love can shrink or even disappear. Men want to feel like they are making a difference in their partner's life. They want to know that their efforts are noticed, appreciated, and needed. When a man's ego feels valued, he feels important, and that importance translates into a drive to protect and provide emotionally, physically, and mentally. The boost that comes from knowing he is respected and needed activates a kind of pride that pushes him to be reliable, trustworthy, and committed. This pride isn't arrogance. It's a deep-seated confidence that fuels his love and loyalty. If a man feels his ego is being dismissed or belittled, he can withdraw or become defensive. When a man's ego feels threatened, instead of motivating him, it can cause him to shut down or lash out. This is why handling a man's ego with care and respect is crucial. The goal isn't to inflate his ego artificially, but to engage it in a way that encourages positive growth and sustained affection. When a woman acknowledges a man's efforts and contributions, it tells him his role matters, and that affirmation makes him want to show up more fully in the relationship. There's a fine line between ego and insecurity. Sometimes a man's ego is fragile because deep down he may have insecurities about whether he's good enough or capable enough. When a woman understands this and approaches his ego with empathy rather than criticism, she helps build his confidence. This emotional support is like fertilizer for his ego. It helps him grow stronger and more secure, which in turn strengthens his love and dedication. Men also often tie their self-worth to how well they can provide solutions, protect their loved ones, and maintain a sense of control and order in their lives. When their ego is respected in these roles, they feel motivated to work harder and love harder. For example, when a man is appreciated for the sacrifices he makes or the ways he supports his partner, his ego gets a positive charge. That charge propels him forward, not just to meet expectations, but to exceed them because he wants to be a hero in her eyes. This dynamic is why some men become deeply devoted when their ego is engaged properly. They don't just want to love you, they want to be your man in every sense. They want to be the person you can count on, the one who stands tall beside you, and the one who makes you feel secure and cherished. This sense of purpose in the relationship is powered by a healthy ego. On the other hand, if a man's ego is constantly bruised, if he feels unappreciated, disrespected, or undermined, his motivation to love deeply can dwindle. He may begin to question his value in the relationship or feel defeated. This can lead to emotional distancing or even conflict. The challenge for any woman is to find the balance between being honest and assertive while also nurturing his ego in ways that empower him rather than tear him down. One way to engage a man's ego positively is through genuine compliments and recognition. But it has to be sincere. Empty flattery doesn't work. Men can usually tell when praise is fake, and that can have the opposite effect. When you recognize his strengths, his efforts, or the ways he shows up for you, it feeds his ego in a healthy way. This recognition becomes fuel for his love. Another aspect is allowing him to take the lead sometimes. Many men feel motivated when they sense they have a role to play in decision-making or problem-solving. Giving him space to lead, not in a controlling way, but in a way that makes him feel trusted and respected, boosts his ego and his commitment. It says, I trust you, I believe in you. And that's incredibly motivating for a man. It's also important to understand that a man's ego doesn't just crave external validation, it needs internal strength. When a man builds his own confidence and self-esteem, he brings that strength into the relationship. A woman who encourages his growth, supports his goals, and believes in his potential helps him develop that inner confidence. That inner confidence, in turn, makes his love more stable, more passionate, and more enduring. Engaging a man's ego in a positive way doesn't mean you have to compromise your own needs or values. In fact, when both partners respect each other's egos and support each other's growth, the relationship becomes a powerful partnership. Each person lifts the other up, motivates each other to be better, and loves more deeply because of it. The power of a man's ego lies in its ability to motivate love, loyalty, and effort when it's respected and nurtured. The trick is to engage it with honesty, kindness, and confidence. When a woman does that, she's not only honoring him, she's creating an environment where his love can grow madly and last forever. Love that grows through effort is some of the strongest and most genuine love there is. When a man feels that he has to work to earn your love, he values it on a much deeper level because it's not something handed to him on a silver platter. That kind of love isn't casual or taken for granted. It requires dedication, patience, and real investment. Men want to feel that their love is earned, that it's something special, and that it's not easily won. This makes the love more meaningful and more fiercely protective because it's tied to their sense of accomplishment and pride. The idea that love is something to be worked for doesn't mean the relationship should feel like a constant struggle or battle. It means that both partners put in the time and effort to nurture the connection, to grow together, and to show appreciation regularly. When a man feels he's actively building a relationship with a woman who challenges him, inspires him, and holds him accountable, his love becomes more passionate and dedicated. It's the difference between a love that's given freely and one that's earned through mutual respect and effort. Men love to chase in the beginning, and that chase is fueled by the desire to earn your affection, trust, and loyalty. If love is too easy or taken for granted, that initial excitement can fade quickly. But when a man knows that your love is something precious that must be maintained and respected, he stays engaged. He works harder to keep that love alive because it's not just about winning you over once, it's about continuing to win your heart every day. Effort in love can take many forms. It might be the small everyday things like remembering what matters to you, listening when you speak, or showing up when you need support. It might also be the bigger things like making sacrifices, prioritizing your relationship, or working through challenges together. When a man puts in this effort, it feeds his ego in a healthy way because he feels accomplished and valued. It also shows that his love is not superficial, it's deeply rooted in action and intention. This effort is also about consistency. Men know that words can sometimes be empty if they're not backed by actions. When a woman expects and appreciates consistent effort, it sends a clear message. Love isn't just about what you say, it's about what you do. This expectation keeps a man motivated to show up fully because he knows that love isn't a one-time thing, it's an ongoing journey. And being part of that journey with a woman who values effort makes him love her madly. The effort-driven love also creates a sense of security. When a man knows that his love is earned through real commitment and actions, he feels secure in the relationship. This security isn't about control or possessiveness, but about knowing that the bond between you is strong and genuine. That security allows both partners to be vulnerable, honest, and open, which deepens intimacy and connection. Another important aspect is that effort and love encourages growth for both partners. When a man knows he has to work for your love, he also knows that he has to be the best version of himself to keep it. This motivates him to improve, to grow emotionally, and to be more attentive. At the same time, a woman who expects effort from her partner also grows through the relationship because she learns to communicate her needs clearly, to set boundaries, and to appreciate love that's real and earned. It's also worth noting that this idea of earning love ties into self-worth. When you value yourself enough to expect effort from a partner, you're showing that you respect your own heart. You're saying that your love is precious and that it deserves to be cherished. This attitude challenges a man to rise to the occasion and meet that standard, which in turn inspires deeper love and loyalty. Sometimes women worry that expecting effort will make them seem demanding or difficult. But wanting a partner who loves you through consistent effort is not being difficult, it's being wise. It's recognizing that love is a two-way street that requires both giving and receiving. Men respect women who know what they want and are clear about their expectations because it shows confidence and maturity. When a man truly loves you madly, he's willing to put in the work, not because he has to, but because he wants to. That effort is an expression of his commitment, passion, and respect for the relationship. It's how love stays alive and vibrant even when challenges arise. And it's how a man shows that his love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice he makes every day. Ultimately, Love that grows through effort is a powerful force because it transforms a relationship from something fleeting into something enduring. It creates a bond where both partners feel seen, valued, and motivated to keep building their life together. When a woman expects and appreciates effort, she's not just demanding more, she's inviting a deeper, more passionate, and more committed kind of love. And that kind of love is worth everything.